The air in the ballroom was thick with a silence that screamed louder than any shout. Every eye, 1,000 pinpricks, burned into my back. My hand, steady as stone, rested on Liam's arm. His youth, his vibrant energy, felt like a shield against the collective gasp that rippled through the crowd. My ex-husband, David, stood at the altar, a perfect picture of a man about to commit the ultimate betrayal, his face a mask of smug satisfaction. Then his eyes met mine, and the mask shattered. His jaw went slack, his carefully composed posture crumbling. It was a beautiful, terrifying moment. My world used to be a warm, predictable hum. David and I, we were a story written in comfortable prose. 15 years, a tapestry woven with shared laughter, quiet evenings, and the gentle rhythm of a life built together. We had our routines, our inside jokes, the unspoken language of a couple who knew each other's every breath. He was my rock, my confidant, the man who saw me, truly saw me, even as the years etched lines around my eyes and silvered my hair. Our love wasn't a raging fire, but a deep, steady warmth, like embers glowing in a hearth. We were planning our future, a quiet retirement by the sea, a slower pace, a chance to simply be together. I envisioned us, older, still holding hands, still sharing that knowing glance. Then came the text. Not from him, not at first. From a number I didn't recognize. Photos. A woman, young, vibrant, impossibly beautiful. And David, laughing, holding her hand. My stomach plummeted, a cold, hard knot. My fingers trembled as I typed, demanding answers. His reply, when it came, was a single, brutal sentence that tore through me like a shard of ice. "You're too old for me now." The words echoed in the hollow chambers of my heart, a constant, cruel refrain. Too old. 15 years, erased by 5 words. The comfortable hum of my life dissolved into a jarring cacophony of pain and confusion. I confronted him, of course. His denials were weak, his eyes shifty. He claimed she was just a friend, a new colleague. But the photos, the texts, they screamed a different story. The quiet moments we'd shared, the promises whispered in the dark, they all felt like a sick joke. I looked at him, truly looked at him, and saw a stranger. A man I had loved with every fiber of my being, now a betrayer, a coward. The divorce was a blur of legal jargon and emotional wreckage. He moved out, swiftly, cleanly, as if erasing our shared history was as simple as packing a suitcase. I was left in the wreckage, picking up the shattered pieces of my life. The house, once filled with our laughter, now echoed with a crushing silence. Every corner held a memory, a ghost of what we once were. I tried to go out, to reconnect with friends, but the sting of his words, "too old," clung to me like a shroud. I felt invisible, undesirable, a relic of a bygone era. My self-worth, once a sturdy oak, had been reduced to kindling. I spiraled. Days bled into nights, marked by the dull ache in my chest. I stopped caring about my appearance, about anything. My once vibrant spirit dimmed, replaced by a pervasive sense of despair. Friends tried to pull me out, their voices distant, their efforts futile. I felt like I was drowning, a heavy weight dragging me further and further down. The idea of ever finding happiness again, of ever trusting anyone, felt like a cruel fantasy. I was broken, and I knew it. One bleak afternoon, staring at my reflection, a gaunt, hollow-eyed stranger, something snapped. A cold, quiet rage began to simmer beneath the surface of my despair. Too old? The words ignited a spark, a defiant flicker in the darkness. I would not be defined by his cruelty. I would not let him extinguish my light. I would not just survive. I would thrive. I would show him, and myself, that my worth was not tied to his fleeting desires. This wasn't just about proving him wrong, it was about reclaiming myself. It was about proving me right. I started small, a walk around the block, then a gym membership. I rediscovered my love for painting, for music. I poured my energy into my work, excelling in ways I never thought possible. The weight began to lift, replaced by a growing sense of purpose. I met Liam at a charity gala, an event I almost skipped. He was younger, yes, but his eyes held an ancient wisdom, a genuine warmth that drew me in. He didn't see my age, he saw me. He saw my strength, my resilience, the quiet fire that had begun to burn brighter than ever. He made me laugh, truly laugh, for the first time in what felt like forever. He saw the beauty in my experience, in the lines that told the story of my life. He fell in love with all of me, not despite my age, but because of the woman I had become. Our relationship bloomed, a vibrant, unexpected joy. Liam was everything David wasn't. Kind, attentive, genuinely supportive. He cherished me, celebrated me. Our engagement was a quiet, intimate affair, filled with tears of happiness, not sorrow. I was building a new life, a stronger, more beautiful one, from the ashes of the old. The thought of David rarely crossed my mind, except for a fleeting pang of pity. He was a ghost, a distant memory. Then came the invitation. A thick, embossed card slipped through my letterbox. His wedding. To her. The young woman. My first instinct was to burn it, to pretend it never existed. But then, a cold, sharp clarity descended. This wasn't an invitation, it was a challenge. A final, cruel taunt. He wanted me to see him, to see them, to witness his triumph. He wanted me to feel the sting of his words one last time. But the woman who received that invitation was not the broken woman he had left behind. She was stronger, wiser, and she had Liam by her side. A plan, audacious and exhilarating, began to form in my mind. Liam, bless his heart, understood without a single word. He saw the fire in my eyes, the quiet determination. He held my hand and said, "Whatever you want to do, I'm with you." We chose our outfits with meticulous care. I opted for a dress that shimmered like liquid moonlight, elegant, understated, yet undeniably powerful. Liam, in his perfectly tailored suit, was a vision of youthful strength. We arrived at the church just as the organ swelled, signaling the bride's entrance. The doors swung open, and we stepped inside. Every head turned. The whisper started, a soft rustle, then grew into a collective gasp. I felt their eyes, 1,000 tiny pinpricks, but I held my head high. My gaze, unwavering, found David at the altar. His face, once smug, contorted into a grotesque mask of shock and disbelief. The color drained from his face, leaving it ashen. His eyes, wide and disbelieving, darted from me to Liam, then back again. The young bride, standing beside him, looked utterly bewildered. I walked down the aisle, not as a guest, but as a queen reclaiming her throne. Each step was a testament to my resilience, my triumph. Liam's hand, warm and strong, was a constant anchor. I could hear the murmurs, the hushed exclamations. "Is that? But she's with?" The air crackled with their confusion, their shock. When I reached the front row, directly opposite David, I stopped. I met his gaze, and in that moment, I saw not just shock, but a flash of something else. Regret. And perhaps a flicker of fear. He swayed, his knees buckling. The color drained from his face, leaving it an ashen gray. His carefully composed posture crumbled, and he crumpled, a slow-motion collapse, a puppet with its strings cut. The young bride shrieked. The priest, startled, fumbled for words. Chaos erupted. People rushed forward, a flurry of concerned faces. But my eyes and Liam's remained fixed on David. He lay there, a broken man, not from age, but from the weight of his own betrayal. The paramedics arrived, a siren wailing in the distance, growing louder until it screamed outside the church. They wheeled him out on a stretcher, a sheet pulled up to his chest, his face still ashen, his eyes wide and unseeing. The wedding was understandably called off. The grand affair, meticulously planned, dissolved into a chaotic mess of bewildered guests and hushed conversations. I didn't feel joy, not exactly. A quiet satisfaction, perhaps. A sense of poetic justice. He had wanted to erase me, to replace me, to declare me obsolete. But in the end, he had erased himself. We left the church, the cool air a welcome balm on my skin. The silence outside was profound, a stark contrast to the cacophony within. Liam squeezed my hand, his touch a silent promise. We walked away from the wreckage, not looking back. The future stretched before us, bright and unburdened. I was no longer the woman who had been told she was too old. I was the woman who had found her strength, her worth, and a love that truly saw her. I was the woman who had walked into chaos and emerged victorious. And I was just getting started. If this story hit close to home, if you've ever felt dismissed or devalued, I'd love to hear your version. Drop a comment below with where you're listening from and what time it is. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps me more than you know.